Okay, in this video we're going to be doing the assignment number 36 notes, and we're going to break this up into a couple of pieces. So here we're going to be looking at solving linear equations. I think we have 3 or 4 examples to work through. These should all be reviewed, but it is a little bit of a refresher. So first problem we're going to look at is 2x plus 7 equals negative 2x minus 8. And the goal with the linear equation is to isolate the variables, so you got to move all the numbers to one side and all the variables on the other. So here we're going to move 8 from the right side to the left side, so we're going to do the opposite operation. We're going to add 8 to both sides. 2x plus 15 is equal to negative 2x. Now we only have x terms on the right, so we need to move the 2x that's on the left onto the right side of the equation. To do that, we're going to do the opposite operation, and we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. So we have 15 is equal to negative 2x minus 2x is going to be minus 4x. Okay. Now the negative 4 and the x are connected by multiplication, so do the opposite operation, which is to divide by negative 4. So we'll divide by negative 4. Now there's 3 ways we can write this. Well, there's more than that, but 3 common ways we write this. We can say negative 15 over 4, or we can say negative in front and then 15 over 4, or we can say 15 over negative 4. Now the first two, the negative 15 over 4 or the negative and then the 15 over 4, those are most commonly how we'll write it. Certainly 15 over negative 4 is correct, but we typically use one of the first two, and that's equal to x there. Other things we could do is convert to a mixed number, but we don't want to do that. We just want to leave it as an improper fraction. All right, let's look at 2 or 3 more. So we're going to look at example number 2. We're going to solve 5 times the quantity negative 5x minus 4 plus 3 equals negative 25x minus 22. And before we do anything in terms of moving numbers and variables from one side of the equation to the other, we're going to go ahead and do the distributive property. So we're going to do 5 times negative 5x is negative 25x. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20, plus 3 equals negative 25x minus 22. We're going to combine our like terms here. Negative 20 plus 3 is going to be minus 17. And that's going to be equal to negative 25x minus 22. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter if we move the negative 25x first, or this negative 17, or the negative 22. We got that freedom. In the first example, I moved the constant. In this problem here, what I notice is I have the exact same thing. I have a minus 25x on both sides of the equation. So we're going to go ahead and move that. So to move a minus 25x, we need to add 25x to both sides of the equation. So we're going to add 25x to the left-hand side, and anything you do to the one side of the equation you have to do to the other. That's the golden rule for solving equations. Add 25x to the other side. And so we have negative 17 is equal to negative 22. Okay, all the x's dropped out. When that happens, you have one of 2 scenarios. Either it's an infinite solutions or it is a no solution. This one is going to be a no solution because we arrive at a false statement. Negative 17 is not equal to negative 22. So we say this is false. And so how we've said this in the past is we said this was a no solution. Okay. Now on the MyOpenMath, which oftentimes we abbreviate it as MOM, on the MyOpenMath, how they're going to want you to put this is, I think they use the 3 letters D and E. Okay, so we're going to say D and E as a no solution for this particular problem. All right, hang in there. We got 2 more to look at. So example number 3, we're going to look at negative 9 times the quantity negative 5x plus 7 minus 2, and that's going to be equal to 45x minus 65. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use distributive property. So negative 9 times negative 5x is positive 45x. Negative 9 times positive 7 is negative 63. Then we add a minus 2 on that side of the equation. That's equal to 45x minus 65. We're going to go ahead and combine like terms. So 45x Minus 63 and minus 2 is going to be a minus 65, and that's equal to 45x minus 65. Okay, now at this point in time, you may realize, hey, I have the exact same thing on both sides of the equation. You have the exact same thing on both sides of the equation. This is going to be an infinite solution, which means it doesn't matter what value of x you choose. This is always going to be a true statement. However, if you want to continue, you would subtract 45x from both sides, and you get negative 65 equals negative 65. So you can keep going. So we have a true statement. We have the same thing on both sides of the equation. So we say this is true. And then what we've said in the past is I think we've said this is an infinite solution. It's the set of all real numbers is the solution here. Okay. And then for MyOpenMath, we are going to say infinity is how they ended up phrasing that, just to input it into MyOpenMath. All right, and the last example we're going to look at is a rational function, a real basic one. We have x over 5 plus x over 3, and that's going to be equal to 7 over 10. Now we need to identify the LCD here, or the LCM, however we've called it in the past. And usually you take the largest number, so 10. So 5 goes into 10, but 3 doesn't go into 10. And we'll look at multiples of 10. Next multiple is 20. 5 goes into 20 evenly, but 3 does not. Next multiple of 10 is 30. Both 5 and 3 go into that, so that is our LCD. So our LCD of 5, 3, and 10, so I just took each distinct denominator there, is 30. So we're going to take the equation and we're going to multiply it by 30 over 1 to clear the fractions. So times 30 over 1. And remember, when we multiply fractions, it's straight across and straight across. Top times top, bottom times bottom. So 30 times x is 30x. 1 times 5 is 5. Plus 30 times x is 30x. 1 times 3 is 3. Equals 30 times 7 is 210. 1 times 10 is 10. The whole point of this is to clear the fractions. 30x divided by 5 is 6x. 30x divided by 3 is 10x. 210 divided by 10 is 21. Let's combine our like terms. 6x plus 10x is 16x. That's equal to 21. We'll go ahead and divide both sides by 16, and our solution here is x is equal to 21 over 16. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful, and we are going to look at probably two more videos. So we'll look at solving quadratics, just a review, factoring quadratic formula, square root property, and we'll look at higher ordered polynomials, rational functions, and maybe a couple of radical equations. So stay tuned for the next video.